We just having a meeting.
Yeah, we just talked.
We're gonna get him a shirt that say Rabbi on the back. Can we please do that?
So we are in the office. We're having literally staff meeting. And so some questions arise in staff meeting. I haven't done a Growing Pains in a while, so this is why I called it Growing Pains staff conversation. And so in the midst of us having conversation, a question was asked, and we're talking about different things that people on the staff are good at. And we're talking about knowing your role as a leader in certain aspects, and this is just kind of grassroots conversation, but certain aspects that we have that I think our strongest ability is to know who we're called to be to the people that we're called to. So a lot of times we're trying to be something totally different to someone or to something or to some group that we were never called to be. Yeah. So I just used the analogy when Paul is writing, the Church of Corinth was complaining and they were like, Apollos came out of nowhere. Apollos using all these big words. His ministry was very, I would say, like in our terms, very educational. He was very astute. And so they were complaining. They were like, Apollos says this and he does this and he does this. And Paul says, Paul felt like he was called to the least of these. And Paul felt like he could be used. And this is why Paul says, I became all things to all men that I may win some. So I may win some. Everybody was not to be one, right? By him.
Yeah.
By him. Even though God wants to save everybody, some responsibilities I think we try to take on for ourselves as leaders to say, I am going to do this. Yeah. A part of it is that it ain't for you. So Paul says, I plant the seed, Apollos waters, but God gets the increase. And I'm gonna tell you how it now, looking at it, as I was just talking to y'all, how it just blessed me, because a lot of times, like when we look at our All Nations context, every leader that's within the campuses attract a different type of people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can, if I look at Apostle Matt preaches a different type of way. Apostle Matt has a great authority. You know what I'm saying? Like when he speaks anything, you know what I'm saying? But he's very astute. He's a teacher by nature. So that's his background, you know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff. Pastor Bryant, was my pastor before I even connected to the context. So Pastor Bryant, he attracts a different type of people. Pastor Clack attracts a different type of people. Josh Hart attracts a different type of people. Apostle Dumas attracts a different type of people. Apostle Stiff attracts a different type of people. And, and I look at my type of people and I just be like, man, our people are just different. You know what I'm saying? And, but I think that I would discredit who we're called to reach if you try to be something you were never called to be. And if you're not careful, what you'll do is that you will try to duplicate what you see, duplicate, what works for somebody else, and that not be your portion. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so when the people, that's why it's so important, like for me, when the people were trying to get Paul to be something else, Paul had to reshift them. I plant the seed. Mm-hmm. Apollo, I know what what he was saying is, I know my role. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to allow you to force me into a role that I'm not called to be in. Yeah. And I think that if we're not careful, the people you lead will become the leaders of you if you're not careful. Mm-hmm. And you will have the title of a leader, but you'll be too busy following the crowd.
Wow, that's good.
It'll shake up your whole dynamic, because you'll be too busy trying to please and trying to appease and trying to make sure everybody agrees. And be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be on that. And that's just not what we're called to do. Like at the end of the day, we are not called to please everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's the harsh reality of the church dynamic, is because everybody feels like, oh, well, when you're in church, we're here to meet the needs of everybody. And that's not the case. Every church is different. So with every church being different, it reaches a different group of people. You know, like I was saying yesterday at 12 o'clock, when you partner with the church, you don't just partner with the church, you partner with the process. And you need to partner with a place that is able to give you a process for your potential. So I don't know, man. You know, like as we begin to walk people through, like I was saying, like deliverance is different from discipleship. You know, just because somebody has the capability to deliver you, you still got to partner with somebody that's gonna have the capability to disciple you. And and here's the truth: most believers now in Christianity have not been discipled.
Absolutely correct. Agreed.
So all right, you grew up in church.
Yeah.
All your life. Your family.
Yeah.
Everybody did church. So
you saw the picture.
Yeah.
You see the picture.
You see the picture.
You got the proof.
You see it.
So when you said, all right, like, how old were you when you got saved?
When I was filled with the Holy Ghost with the evidence of speaking in tongues. No, I was 8 years old. But even when I decided like to really live for God, period, all of that happened when I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
Yeah.
All right. So when you decided, what happened next? Like from that decision, what happened?
Okay. Well, what happened next was they first, after I had to go to Terry service for a long time. I didn't get as quick as others, but once I really made my decision and I really decided I was going to live for God, they taught me the Bible. They really taught me what to do, what not to do, how to pray, how to get in touch with God. They literally taught me that. So one thing I can say about my old school upbringing, they did discipleship.
Uh-huh.
It was a very kind of maybe what's the word? Old in method.
Yeah.
In a lot of terms, but it was definitely discipleship. They kind of walked me through that.
So this goes to what we were just talking about with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reason why discipleship is a thing that Kelsey is gifted in, because he was discipled. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all of that, come and stay in my house.
Yeah, this is how we roll.
It's how he was raised. It's how he was groomed. It's what he did. So one of Kelsey's giftings is discipleship, and to invite people into space and make sure everybody good. And then I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna see how you doing. I'm gonna care about your life and that type of situation. He was raised in it.
And one thing that I do about my upbringing, one thing that I did notice that I had to start doing was checking progress. A lot of times people did what they're supposed to do as far as like being disciples, having accountability and all of that. But a lot of times progress was not checked. So some people were able to kind of either slide through, or some people really weren't being changed. They were just kind of eating the good of the land. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Since I'm here, and around the time, certain people were able to kind of do certain levels of damage.
Yeah.
Because the progress wasn't there.
Yeah.
So now I've learned, like in my own, way of doing things, like to check progress and be led. Because sometimes we take on projects that God really never had for you to take on. Like even be led on how far to go. Some people you really do deliver and you walk off and let somebody else disciple.
Yeah.
Some people you kind of feel that pull, like, you know what, we got to spend a little bit more time together. Like you gonna make it. Like I got what you need. And then in those times, like you'll be led. But I've learned to check progress. A lot of times it was just do this, but no progress was checked. So you really don't know if I'm getting what you're giving me because there was no test.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Kiara, when you got saved, how were you?
I had baptized when I was 7. But I only did it because I saw my cousin them up front. And I grew up Southern Baptist. So it was like after we got baptized, that was it. I continued doing the same thing, get up, go to Sunday school, go to church. It wasn't until here that I started learning like it really is a process to this. It was here that I really focused in on trying to actually have a relationship with God, get to know Him beyond just the songs in church, like, cause all I knew was like the "Guide Me Over That Great Jehovah," and it was cool, like it was good to sing, like.
Yeah.
But like I didn't know nothing about what I was singing, and I like as a child I sung in like the adult choir. I didn't even know half of that I was singing. I was just singing because I was in the choir, so I didn't get any of this. And like I was just saying, like it isn't until you get under the right leader that you start figuring out like the things that you feel or stuff that's going on around you, that leader is able to put a language to what's going on. And like it was literally just today from this conversation that I realized it's the difference between being a deliverer or being delivered or being a disciple or walking somebody through discipleship.
Mm-hmm. Because like I mean that goes back to what I was saying, like because everybody we have the capability to like you can real deal have the gift of deliverance, like walk people through deliverance, walk people through that type of stuff, but you could suck at being a discipler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like you're not gonna check back up on them. You ain't gonna see how they life doing. You really don't care. Yeah. But I think where we try to force people into the two is like, okay, I lay hands on you, rolled around, all that stuff was great, and I was able to give you some scriptures for that. I was able to talk through that, and then all that stuff come up and all that. But yes, there has to be somebody that we partner through discipleship to start to groom you for your right decisions, because we're groomed in decision making. Yeah. We're groomed in decision making. A lot of times we're groomed in decision making by people that were not discipled, especially when you are the first in your household to see and to do and to experience certain aspects. Yeah. So your mama didn't make decisions from a delivered place. So she could not teach, and it's nothing bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that she's horrible. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just she made decisions maybe from an emotional place, and she taught you how to make decisions from an emotional place. So the reason why the moment your flesh started to tell you to feel some type of way, you need to make a decision on that. You need to carry this out because my flesh told me, this is how we feel right now. This is what we need to do. And so that's the reason why discipleship is so important, because, and I actually believe that, discipleship is something that's missed in the church, because it's like you get saved, you come down to the altar, and then we gone.
What's next?
Yeah, like what's next? Like, okay, but it's very hard to establish that when you have a church that's constantly growing or numbers are constantly coming. So it's like, that's the reason why I think that also too, in conjunction with the people that could walk you through discipleship, the person that needs to be discipled has to come to a revelation that they need to be discipled. Because everybody that joins the church does not want to be discipled.
That's true.
So you will try to force discipleship on somebody that doesn't want it. I don't want you to go through life with me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get better in this area. I'm good with this demon I'm wrestling.
Yeah.
Right. See you on Sunday.
See you on Sunday. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? So like, but we're dealing with, so like both of y'all dynamics are polar opposite. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But even though you have the gift of discipleship, Kenyatta has the gift of discipleship, she just didn't know it. So the thing about Kenyatta is that Kenyatta labeled it as, I'm a friend that's going to give you advice.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, we cool, but everybody started coming to her for answers. She didn't know, in the midst of me giving those answers, I was really discipling. I just had a different language for it. Both of y'all doing the same thing. Right. It was just groomed two different ways.
Yeah.
Joe, when did you get saved?
Around the age of 10.
10? All right, so you got saved, then what happened? Like, what was the next thing?
I was still a child.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah. I was still a child.
I'm just a baby. Nobody really taught us the steps. They just made sure that because we made that decision, that we would continue to come to church and be active in church and, learn what was out there. And I didn't really get the depths of discipleship at a young age. I just stayed around Pastor Gail. That was just who it was.
Yeah.
Pastor Gail White. She just kept us, as a family up under there because we made the decision as children. And she was an educator as well, and a pastor. She loved the kids, so she just kind of took us and my mom under her wing, and I think she more so helped with my mother in the decision making process. But as a child, me growing up and growing in God, me wanting it for myself and not getting that same type of deal because I was so young, I guess I missed it in some areas. But some things that I were taught kind of helped me in my decision making process now. Certain things you don't get because you're young. I won't understand it at that age.
Yeah.
And it was easy. It kind of made sense quicker when I became an adult and decided to do the process about loving on people and sticking with them and helping them make decisions outside the church. Like what we doing after church.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. Like family dinners and Sunday dinners, especially because I didn't have a big church, was a big thing for us.
Yeah.
Who you on the phone with? Why you on the phone? You shouldn't be texting, like that type of stuff. Like on Sundays and Wednesdays and Saturdays because we got to get ready for Sunday and stuff like that. Like, I didn't understand why Pastor Gail took us grocery shopping and to the mall and stuff like that. I didn't know at that time that that's what was taking place.
She was discipling him.
Right.
So good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor Gail.
I know that's right. Because sometimes you've been discipled and you don't know.
Don't know. Yeah.
I think it was tough because I was being discipled without the deliverance, though, especially being a young man. And I think that would be my question: is how do we deal with discipleship without the deliverance portion of it?
That is good.
Well, I think I think it's two sides of that.
Yeah.
So for one, when you're dealing with a younger person, to give them deliverance initially, it's going to freak them out.
Right.
So sometimes you have to give discipleship to walk them to deliverance.
That's good.
As older, we got to have deliverance, then walk them through discipleship. So it's almost like, and I don't know if it's an age, plateau that says, if you 21 and under, you need to do it this way, or if you're 21 and over, you need to do it this way. I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's a maturity thing. Because I know some 40-year-olds that still know nothing, they don't know nothing about God. I think it's the maturity of the encounters with God that they've had or not had that you're able to disciple them, but you cannot miss the mission and lose the mission through the sake of friendship and discipleship. You see what I'm saying? Right. So like for example, like if you are discipling somebody, there needs with discipleship, and this, we take the Jesus model. When Jesus made disciples, he didn't tell them how long he was going to be with them, right? When he starts getting to the end, he starts talking about it, but he didn't start out saying, y'all gonna be with me 3.5 years.
Right. Yeah.
He didn't start off with that because people, and I think that we are such a time conscious and time driven people. So like if you tell me, oh, I got 3 years, then I'm either gonna be cool with that depending on what's on the other side of it, or I'm gonna run away from that because I'm gonna think that that's too long. You know what I'm saying? So I really think Jesus did that to check the motives of them. Because people will hold on when they want something if you tell them how long it's gonna be, if they really want it. Or
internal clock.
Yeah, they got the internal clock. So it's like, but I think that you can't lose sight of where you're taking them, because when you are a discipler, disciplers have to have destinations. So I gotta have somebody. I gotta have somewhere I'm taking you. If I'm not taking you somewhere, then what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like Jesus was trying to give them something, but also take them somewhere. So how I first got you at year 1, you will not be the same at year 3.5. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm taking you somewhere. There has to be a destination connected to discipleship. So based upon their maturity, based upon their relationship with God, I might have to give you discipleship first. I might have to come in as, conversation and so forth and so on. Because if I come in laying on hands and speaking in tongues and saying up and out, you see what I'm saying? Because the strength of the deliverance that can happen is only going to be, it's also going to be predicated on the strength of the relationship, and you can say all of these amazing things that are going to help me get free, But if conviction without relationship sounds silly.
That's good.
Conviction without relationship. If you know, like right now, everybody in this room, for the most part, Candy's the newest person, but everybody in this room, I could come to you and ask you anything about your personal life, right? Mm-hmm. So I can come to you and be like, why did you do this? What's going on here? When's the last time you did this? When's the last time? Now I can do that now because of my investment in you.
Yeah.
If my first time meeting you, I did that, you might see me as a pastor and you might be like, oh, okay, I visited his church or I think he cool. But if I said that the first time you saw me or the first time you met me, you either recluse, shut down, say that dude crazy, I ain't never doing church again. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes there has to be discipleship and there has to be relationship building before conviction can come. Because how can you tell me what I need help with? You have not put eyes and analyzed where I am. And sometimes, yeah, it could be the Holy Spirit that reveals to you what I struggle with or whatever the case is or what I may need. But if there's no relationship, you know, like that's like it tickles me. You know, I have people in my DM that'll write me and be like, oh, Pastor, I love you, man. You know, you're doing great. But I think, you know, man, you probably dealing with a little hurt. Are you dealing with this? How can you analyze me through social media? Now, and you could take it, oh, because I posted this, but the challenging part of that is I post what I agree with, not what I'm going through.
Right. No, that's good.
And that's stupid to think that you know me well enough to tell me who I am.
Right, what I'm dealing with.
And what, you know what I'm saying? Like that's, and most of the time people are saying that because they want a platform, because they feel like they want to give you a word. And they feel like they give you the right word.
Just open the door.
Yeah, you know, like, or you'll come to my church, or it's going to start a conversation between me and you. I look at that stuff because, for one, if you're not invested in my future, and you're not invested in me as a person, I don't take those words seriously. That's just me personally. But so I think you got to be leading them somewhere. And sometimes deliverance, like people at the church that have had an encounter with God, that may know God, they may get deliverance first and then get discipleship. Mm-hmm. You know, because the truth is, the reason why I'm asking y'all, like, when y'all got saved and what happened after that is because, you know, 8 out of 10 believers, 8 that got saved, and those 8 were not discipled. We got saved, we got baptized, we came out of the water, and we was like, all right. Especially if you was Baptist.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, for real, like, you know, and there's nothing against Baptist. I was raised Baptist, and I love my Baptist roots. My Baptist roots gave me, like, one of the things about Baptist, like, we gonna stick to that Bible. And we're gonna study that Bible. And so I love the Lord that He allowed me to be raised in that. But one thing about it is that we got saved and it was like, all right, cool, read. Nobody taught us where to start. Nobody taught us, you know, how this applied to your life. And so if you're not careful, like for me, being raised Baptist, my experience is that we were taught to read the Bible from a fairy tale perspective, not from a life lessons.
Yeah.
Not from this applies to you now.
Absolutely.
So I knew the stories of the Bible, but I could not equate them to my personal life.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
You see what I'm saying? So living holy, what? Trying to do the right thing, what? So initially what was happening with me was that I got saved. And I knew, you know, like from what I was taught then, I'm going to heaven, right? So I can live any way I want to. Mm-hmm. I'm going to heaven now. So cool. I still can have sex. I still can do this. I still can do this. Oh, and then you want me to read this fairy tale book that applies to everything else but not me. So I can read this, and as much of the book as I know, I can cover up what I'm really dealing with. Yeah. It's perfect. That's a deterrent. So I am anointed based upon how many scriptures I know. Great. So I learned a lot of scripture, live like hell, and you don't know it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because we weren't discipled. Nobody tapped into decision making. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nobody tapped into, like, why do you think the way you think? Nobody tapped into, hey, you were raised in rejection. Yeah. So if you're raised in rejection, you're gonna think that every time you have the capability to be rejected, you're gonna shy away from it, or the first time somebody accepts you, you're gonna go all in.
Yeah.
We want to talk that because we were not discipled. Ken, when did you get saved?
I got saved when I was around 9.
Now 9. Well, y'all some.
I mean,
But I'm
I
gonna take a
grew
tag
up-
on his line. We were still kids.
We
too.
still kids. I mean, in the Kojic church, you know, they gonna
Right.
ensure that you gonna come down
Nah, nah,
because
nah,
you
nah,
at
nah,
the
nah,
church
nah,
all
nah,
the
nah, nah, nah,
time.
nah.
Yeah, so you going, all the kids, all y'all, come on, you get saved today. Again, come on. But, again, but I didn't get discipled till I was 26.
Yeah,
And my godmom did that.
yeah.
So it was personal. I was never discipled in the church environment. My gifts were discipled, but my life, my soul, my spirit was never discipled. Never. But my godmom took the time to teach me about who I was in God, not just beyond my gift, but she took the time, walked me through the word. She taught me how to really pray. She taught me how to study. She would make me teach Bible study with her Bible group. She would push me to really have a relationship with God. She would walk me through my decisions. She would call me out on my stuff. She was so connected to me in the spirit. I could be in LA and she could be in LA, I could be in Dallas. She called me and be like, "What you doing?" Yeah, who you doing it with?
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
You know, it was that accountability. So I wasn't discipled. My life, my spirit, my soul wasn't discipled till I was a grown woman.
Yeah.
So I'm having to work through and learn the real basis and foundation of a relationship with God, and I didn't really learn that until I was a grown up.
So, Pastor Ken, let me ask this, because I think what keeps us in not wanting to be is because we feel like we already should. So we have to humble ourselves to be like, you know what? I still need some help in this area. Even as an adult.
Yeah.
Even as an adult. Like, I think because it challenges us to be like, you know what? I didn't get that.
Yeah.
And our fear of starting at 1
Oh God.
Yep.
Oh God.
when you've been looked at as 20.
Yeah.
All your life.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I've been looked at on a level 20
Yeah.
because I could do church well. I was charismatic. I'm looked at on this level. And then you mean to tell me I got to start at 1? That's not fair.
Yeah.
I don't do that. Start at 1? No, I'm straight. So what we do, we keep playing the game without, because we don't want to look like we're starting at level 1 again.
Yeah.
So would it be pride?
That's definitely pride.
It
It
is.
is pride.
It is pride.
That's one thing I could say. I'm like Ken. Like I've got discipled as soon as I got saved, but it was in a certain aspect. It wasn't complete.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because as a disciple, even with Jesus, who's the great example of a discipler.
Yeah.
He himself was all God and all human.
Yeah.
So it's like for the people who disciple, in order to disciple somebody to fullness, you got to address more than one side of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't feel like all my sides got really addressed.
Oh, that's real.
Until I came here. You remember when I said I felt like I was a lion?
Yeah.
Being taken care of, but in a totally different environment.
Yeah.
But then when they finally set the lion free, they don't know like how he's gonna act in the wild. But it's like, this is where I'm supposed to be anyway. So thank you for what you've done. You kept me alive.
Yeah.
So what I was born and raised with really got me to where I am today, and it fuels where I am today. But me learning about like my actual destiny, putting language towards certain things that I used to feel but couldn't explain, like that's what's feeding me and helping me even in what I do for God. So it's like, yeah, I feel it. It's like you got to be able to have every side of you kind of growing. And one side of me was, I ain't saying there as in already arrived, but one side of me was cool.
Mm-hmm.
One side of me was enough for me to be able to be a help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like now I'm getting help.
Yeah.
So I'm an even better help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
Because
good.
my other side, I was always taught how to be good and spiritual, but I was never really taught like the stuff I did outside the church. It was stuff that I reached for myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like God just having to bless, but it was never like nobody was like, okay, this is how you do this. Apply for this.
Yeah.
Do this. Do this. It was just all be anointed, sing. You're the light. You don't dress like them. You don't look like them. You don't do this. But I'm like, but now I'm kind of like learning how to take what I have on the inside and be able to use it for God's glory.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really getting that here.
Yeah. Well, but I think in some areas it is a humility thing.
Absolutely.
You know, it is. You know, it's certain stuff like that I preach and like the Lord will give me in the moment, and I gotta make sure I remember it. I'll be like, let me write that down because that applies to me. Because I'm not that smart to have everything that the Lord gonna tell me when I get up there. But I remember one time the Lord told me, He says, "Is what you learn after you learn everything that matters."
Yeah.
That's good.
It's what you learn after you learn everything that matters. A lot of times we just don't want to learn again.
Yeah.
We just like, you know, I already know, and like that's our answer for so much. I already know that.
Yeah.
I already got that figured out. No, you don't. Like when do you all right? So when do we get to a place where we say, you know what? I probably could do better with this.
Mm-hmm.
I probably was wrong in that. And then what happens? See, here's the truth. We say we got leaders and I got a pastor, I got a spiritual father, but what happens when your leader questions the way that you have done stuff for so long and you thought that you were doing it the right way? Mm-hmm. You thought you've been doing it good all this time, and then they got to challenge the system that you have thought was perfected. And not only just your leader, what happens when God does it?
When God does it,
Yeah, like when you're like, all right, that was cool, but guess what? For 35 years, you've been doing that wrong.
Yeah. For real.
And you be like, wait,
That's a shock to
Yeah.
wait, hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. I gotta redo it.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta relearn it. I gotta, you know, I gotta figure this out again. Because and this is what I equated to. You know, I love teaching an analogy, but this is what I equated to. You know, I learned how to ride a bike when I was whatever years old, right? I was a child outside learning how to ride a bike, right? And I was having this moment recently, you know, with my stepfather passed and then my father passed. I was thinking about the moments that me and my dad did share. Because a lot of times I always talk about stuff that my dad missed out on, but I never talk about really moments that me and my dad did share. Mm-hmm. And my dad taught me how to ride a bike. So I was thinking about when he taught me how to ride a bike. And so, you know, he was out there with me, you know, he running behind me, holding the seat, you know what I'm saying? Training wheels, doing all that other type of stuff. And I remember, and I was like, man, you know, and as we're talking about this, it dawns on me. What if you learn how to ride a bike at 7, right? Mm-hmm. You learn how to ride a bike at 7, and then you become 35 and realize, you know how you say, you know, once you learn how to ride a bike, you never forget, right? Mm-hmm. You just get on the bike, you just know how to do it, right? But what if, you know, from 7 to 35, you've been riding bikes, you've been enjoying them, having a good time, and then at 35, the Lord says, you know what? You've been riding a bike, but you've been riding it wrong. Mm-hmm. You've been riding it this way. That's not the way you're supposed to ride it. You got to ride it this way. So you got to go back through the same process that you did at 7 at 35. So we don't want to be seen as a 35 adult with our father still holding the seat.
Mm-hmm. My Lord.
But I would much rather, this is what I had to tell God. I would much rather be 35 seen with you holding the seat, training me, than for me to do it by myself, thinking I'm doing it right and doing it wrong.
And mess everything up. Yeah.
Nothing is more heartbreaking than for you to think you've been doing something right, but you've been doing it all wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everybody else knows but you.
Everybody.
You ride down the street. You ride down the street, they be like, look at that fool. Look at that fool. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Get the milk out the bottle. Look at this. Look at this.
And that really is a pride thing.
It's a pride thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen with you teaching me. At this age, I should know it. It's us being in our own mind.
And we think we become, one thing we got to realize is that God doesn't have aunties, nieces, nephews, cousins. He's God and we're all his children. Sometimes we try to think we grow, we become teenagers in God. Or we become adults.
Yeah.
Or I'm almost his age.
We're all children.
No, we're still children. We're born at different times in history, but we are all
children.
children. So God can hold my bike forever.
Listen.
Because I can't do it without him anyway.
Listen.
I
That's
think
so
one
good.
thing that we love to holler, like, because we keep saying, like, in God's eyes, like, we are children,
really
but
just
the
children.
first thing we love to holler in defense. First off, I'm grown.
Yeah,
I'm grown.
And we be like, no, first of all, you a child. God.
Yeah, you grown and wrong.
He grown and wrong. But you know, it's one of those things where I was like, man, you know, like we really, and this is why God challenges us, and this is why I believe God continues to challenge us about humility.
Yeah.
He says he hates the proud.
Mm-hmm.
He hates the proud
Yeah.
because he's like, I can't teach you nothing. I will place people around you that could teach you, that could train you, and because they're younger than you, or because you think that you got it all figured out, or because they're around the same age as you, or you feel like they too old, you can't learn nothing from, or because of their background and what they've done, you can't get nothing from them. It's just like, oh, I know too much about them. Lord ain't gonna speak to me through them. That's so stupid because we get so locked into our perception of things that we become unteachable, not understanding that that's Leviathan. That is pride
Yes.
all day long.
Yes.
And I think that if God wants to do anything with anybody, he's going to always look for the teachable.
Absolutely.
He's always going to look for the teachable.
And discipleship is it's not just a means to cure. We talk about deliverance, and then after deliverance comes discipleship. And discipleship is not just a means to cure, but it's also a means to cut.
Yep.
You know, true discipleship, you have to get cut.
Yep.
Because that person that's discipling you, they're going to see things in you that do lead to pride or selfishness, or
Yep.
things that will lead you to you know, the opposite side of where God is leading you, your purpose and your destiny. So sometimes that disciple has to, or the one that's discipling you has to cut you to actually cure you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cure you of your
That's
pride,
true.
cure you of your arrogance, cure you of your lack of humility or lack of confidence, you know. So it's not just all, you know, me telling you the things that are good, but it's also me cutting you and helping to prune those things off of you that are keeping you from growing
Yep.
too.
That's, I mean, and I think, and I think that's the thing. When Jessica asked me, she was like, well, you know, like we walk through deliverance. I mean, like we do deliverance on somebody, we gotta walk through the process with them. And so when you deliver somebody, you don't have to walk through the process with them. You need to find a discipler so that they can be discipled. But when we talk about the cutting aspect, so I think that everybody that you yield, or people that you yield yourself to be cut. And if I rebuke you, I'm not just gonna run to your rebuke, I'm gonna run to your rescue.
Yeah.
So if I rebuke you, I'm committing myself to walk through the process of your healing. You know what I'm saying? To me, rebuke is an investment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's an investment. Like if I feel like you made up in your mind that this is how you always gonna be, then it don't need for me to start. It don't need me to rebuke.
Yeah.
You're not teachable. So if this is what you always want to do, this how you always want to be, you want to be like this, you don't care, you don't want to get better, all right, cool. I say my rebuke to somebody that wants to apply what I give them. A rebuke is an investment, and I think that if we're discipling people, you have to be open to that cut. You have to be open to some cutting back. Any good gardener knows I don't cut to kill the flower, I cut to grow it.
Absolutely.
So I gotta cut. I gotta cut and I gotta trim. And even though the flower may be in pain, he will be thankful for it after a while, because these things are hindering my growth that I don't see on me.
Yeah.
So I need these things to be grown. I need these things to be cut. But it's only through discipleship.
That's so good.
You need other eyes on your life.
Yeah.
And there is a difference in a cut to cure and a cut to kill.
Listen,
There is a difference when
big
somebody's cutting you to cure you
Yep.
and when somebody's cutting you to kill you. You've got to know the difference.
Yep, you gotta know.
You
that.
got to know the difference.
And you can't just think every cut is the same.
Yeah.
So and the challenging part is, man, this is so good. The challenging part is, whose hands is the knife or the scissors in?
Yeah.
So the moment you see scissors, because you've been cut with the intent to be killed before, you will think, man, the next person that comes and grabs them scissors, they about to kill me.
Yeah.
No, it's about whose hands that they're in.
Yeah.
So if they're in the hands of somebody that truly loves me, then they're not going to cut me to kill me. They cut me to cure me. But it's because that people have mismanaged us before and they cut to kill, that the moment you see the same thing, you shrink down. Don't talk to me. I ain't gonna come around you no more. I ain't got nothing to say, all types of stuff. And you got to understand, like, it matters whose hands it is. It could be the same instrument, but the hands are different.
Yeah.
The same instrument, but it's all predicated on whose hands is that instrument.
That's so good.
What was your question?
Oh, so my question was kind of about what we were talking about earlier. Like, some people don't want to be discipled because they don't want to be seen with, you know, somebody holding their training wheel at a place where they feel like they should have already known. So this is my question, because personally, like, I've dealt with that, like mentoring people who assumed that they were on another level that they really weren't. They thought that they was on. So a lot of the things that I was bringing to their attention or mentioning to them, it would always be like, oh well, I mean, I'm already good in that area, or I already got that. So how do you, in discipling, this may be for y'all because y'all like, you know, disciple extraordinary. Disciplers, you know. But how do you realistically deal with someone who wants to be discipled, but they believe that they are a lot further along than they really are? How do you deal with that?
That's a good question. I want to answer.
Well, so number one, so I say this because, you know, like PK, Kenyatta, Joel love discipleship.
Yeah.
But number one, if somebody comes to the realization that they need to be discipled, they've already humbled themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if they come in and say, I want to be discipled, oh, but I already know then you don't want to be discipled.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. You cannot come in telling me what you already know.
Yeah.
And you're saying you want to be discipled. So that's like that when Jesus goes in Matthew and he goes and he says, hey, you follow me. And then what does he say? I'll make you fishers of men.
They were already fishermen.
They were already fishermen.
They were already fishermen. They could have said, I already know how to fish.
Right. What you gonna tell me?
What you gonna teach me? I already know how to fish. What he was saying is, I'm gonna take what you know, but I'm gonna change what you fish for.
Ah, that's good.
So I'm taking you back to square one. I'm gonna use some of the stuff that you already know, but you gotta humble yourself to be taught.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes into the door saying like, I want to be discipled, but I already know this, you do not want to be discipled.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me right there, like, you don't care. You don't care about this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? What you care about, and this is the sad part about our culture and our generation now, what you care about is saying you're being discipled by me, so you care more about my name than your process.
Yeah.
That is good.
So people just want to say, I've been discipled by this person. Oh, this person laid hands on me. This person spoke well of me. This person said I got a call. This person says I got this.
That's good.
That's good.
That's all you care about. You don't care about your process. PK, you gonna answer that?
Yeah, a lot of times a real request from somebody to be discipled or mentored or anything like that is usually 9 times out of 10 is gonna come with a blank slate. It's like no matter whether that person knows everything, no matter how old that person is, like the pastor said, it's a certain level of humility that you gotta have before you even ask for it. And then with that level of humility, you not because you gotta. That's like saying I'm sorry, but you know what I'm saying. Like if you that humble, you're just gonna say I need help. You're not gonna say I need help, but I got this already done. I got this already done. I just need you to come in with this. It's like, well, you already, you know what I'm saying? Figure it out then. But usually it'll come with like a clean slate. And then, you know, of course, things you can ask things. They'll tell you what you asked and all that, whatever. But it's like if they already know everything, then they might just want you to help them with a project or something.
Well, and here's the challenging part about that is because if you already figure like, oh, I got this figured out. Like I come in, I'm saying I want to be discipled, but I got this figured out. Well, what did you figure it out with? The mind that wasn't discipled.
That part.
Right.
That part.
So even what you figured out, you weren't whole. So it's going to look different after we get you whole.
Yeah.
So you would think like, oh, I got this figured out. It's gonna look totally different. Who you choose to date is gonna look totally different after discipleship. What you choose to do with your money is gonna look totally different after discipleship. What you choose to do with your life is gonna look totally different after discipleship. So you made some decisions from an undiscipled place that is not going to hold weight with a disciple place. So you got to understand, like from the barometer and from the lens of which that you made those decisions. So if I made those decisions from a lens of being hurt or bad decisions or whatever the case is, everything's going to change after discipleship. Because so you got to come in with a clear slate. You got to come in saying, yo, like, I don't have it figured out. I don't have anything. Like, change this put eyes on this, help me understand this, you know, do this. And, you know, like, and so like now in our culture and stuff like that, you know, we call, you know, everybody spiritual moms and stuff like that, or spiritual dads or whatever. But the truth is, some people aren't spiritual moms and dads, they're just good disciplers. You know what I'm saying? So like, just because they let you hang out in their house and y'all talk through life, and then they was able to walk through life with you and pray for you, you think, oh man, this is my spiritual mom, this is my spiritual dad. They don't have the weight to be a father or a mother. So at best, they have the weight to be a big brother or a big sister. The truth is, they have the grace to be a discipler, but because of your need to be accepted in something, you force them into a place that their weight could not hold. Sometimes you will force people into corruption. You will force people into disobedience. You will force people out of their time because you want to be accepted so bad into something. So you force people into their place because you are not getting the attention from who really needs to be that. Because you want hands-on and you don't care about the poor. You want attention. So the challenge with that is to, when somebody comes in, man, they just gotta be gotta be all the way open. Jerome, when did you get saved? Jerome holding the camera, y'all.
Let me hold the camera on you.
Yeah.
I got a different story. I was 23.
Okay.
2009 is when I got baptized. So one thing I love about being saved later in life, I made that decision for myself to want to do it. So when I came, I was looking to, I had tried it myself. It ain't worked. Yeah. So I came looking for, you know, that type. I came looking for discipleship. I didn't know at that time. Yeah. But I was looking for that type of instruction. And being like coming from military, you know, I was you're trained to find that leader. You're looking for that leader to instruct you where to go. And I didn't get that. I got you saved now. Go do it right. So what I'm forced with is to make decisions on my own. So I would make the decision on my own and mess up. Yeah. But I would get beat for messing up. But I was like, well, what else was I supposed to do?
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't know nothing else.
I knew nothing else. So I was trying to make the advancement to doing right. And it frustrated me because the struggle was I wanna know, but how do you ask for something that you don't really know is available? You know, I'm trying to change my life. I'm going through some of the worst, you know, decision-making times in my life, but nobody's here to kind of say, hey man, I got you, you know. So I was hungry for wanting that instruction. And like everybody's story here, I didn't find it till I got here. Because the first thing you told me was, I don't care about your gift. And that was important to me because that's all everybody cared about. Yeah. And you're gifted. Man, listen, your grandfather's a pastor. My grandfather's been pastor since 1970. That's you. Well, I don't understand that. I didn't grow up Methodist, Baptist, Kojic.
I just grew up.
Like this is, I literally, my first Bible was a children's Bible. Yeah. I'm 23 years old having to learn children's stories. Yeah. Because I didn't understand.
Wow.
You know, I had but nobody was there to say, hey man, learn this. So, I'm trying to figure this out, trying to better it. But it wasn't until, again, I got here and you was like, hey, look, that's great. Oh, that's cool. You know, you can do that. I preach, but listen, I care about your life. And that interaction to me was like, wow, like, man, this, the teaching and the pulling on my spirit, man, not my flesh or anything like that, has helped me because with you teaching, with you training me in that area, I can take those practical tools and apply them in my personal life. Yeah. And now I'm starting to see like, man, whereas when I got saved, the first thing I want to do is throw all my rap CDs out the window.
That's exactly what I did.
That's just what I did. Threw all them out. Like, oh man, you can't do this, and this. Because I went for what I thought church looked like. So I was like, let me put on a suit, some nice shoes, some good socks to go with the tie. And you had to have a good sock on. But that was church for me. So I went with what it looked like and not really what it was. So for me, what I found myself like fighting, I found it. I was in this war because I went for what church looked like, but it didn't feel right for me. So for so long, I went with what looked good. You supposed to do this, you supposed to do that. And like you say, people see the gift on you and they say, you supposed to preach. and I'm not ready to preach. Well, you this, and I'm gonna put you there to do that, and I'm not prepared for this.
Yeah.
You know, so now the struggle for me was, is this really me?
Yeah.
Is this what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah.
You see this on me, I don't understand this on me, so now I'm fighting against what I should be, what I shouldn't be, what I don't know I can be, what I don't know what's in me. So nobody really trained that side of me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here you go, you can preach, go preach.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if I don't really understand it? So when I, again, just being here to be able to see not only what you teach, how you live it. That's the biggest thing for me. Like, you can say all day, you know, I grew up and I love my parents. Do as I say, not as I do. But I can look at what you say and what you do to match, and that really helps me, because, you know, every time I talk, I'm like, you get instruction from the pulpit. You don't understand what to do, just listen to the word. Just listen to the word.
And it's applicable too.
Right. I mean, you know, it's not just, you know, a lot of times we say, well, that's for somebody else. No, that's for me. That's for me. So, you know.
We always try to put the word on somebody else.
Look. So that's helped me, you know, being saved later in life, because, you know, I wanted this. I got dropped. But I think seeing that side of it helps me to disciple others. I knew, my thing is, if you see change, if you want change, be the change. So when I realized, like, I didn't appreciate that for me. So if somebody was to come into my life and I knew I needed to be that for whatever that season is, let me not drop the ball like somebody did for me, because I don't want them. What if they can't cocoon from this? What if they die in their caterpillar stage?
Yeah.
What if they have never become a butterfly because nobody put them through the process? So that's really, like, this is, even just sitting here amongst the group to hear other stories, like, man, because you know how I know I'm talking, I'm sorry, I'm long-winded. But you hear people's story. And
You're always behind the camera, so this is good. Express yourself, man of God.
So, I never put these stories on you. You know, you like, man, you deal with that. Wow, you like, nah, you know. But hearing that is like comforting. You know, it's like, man, okay, I ain't the only one that struggled with that at some point. So this talking is blessing me to be able to say, man, okay. You know, I'm here, but I can get here and I can go here, and you know. So this is good.
And that's the blessing about doing this, is that like PK said, we're all children.
Yeah.
Regardless of position. I don't know why we get so title hungry, but regardless of position, we're all children of God. So it's like, especially when you put on the title that God didn't give you to begin with. So
What you doing?
these are man-made titles. Put that down. Put that microphone down. You're supposed to be picking up a broom.
Right.
You know you can't sing.
That part.
Not your ministry.
That's not yours. You're supposed to be the most anointed janitor on the planet.
Right.
Making billions, cleaning buildings, but you trying to preach. But I think that I think that's the thing. Like, wherever we are, is that we always have room to grow if we remain in God. The prerequisite to growth is God. We don't grow without Him. Now we can't grow into the things of Him without Him. We can grow.
So what grow?
We can
Something
swell.
could grow.
We can grow, but you will not grow with, you can't grow in Him without Him. And I don't think that it can be done. And I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but I don't think it can be done without the church.
Amen.
I still believe in the local church. I still believe in church. I still believe in going to church. I still believe that people need to go to church. I know we're in the digital age. I stream all of the campuses for the most part throughout my week. That I still don't not go to church.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that discipleship is such a big piece, because it allows us that room to grow and to become. Your story is different, but what I love about it is that even though it was like, you got them at a later age, you got them at an age, like you said, that you made the decision for yourself. And even with discipleship, it's still a decision that you make for yourself daily. It is I don't know, like, why we God decisions always have to be reiterated daily. Almost.
Yes.
The only decision that you don't have to reiterate and constantly remind yourself of is the decisions of sin. You hear me? You make decisions sin. You be like, I made it yesterday. I still be in sin today. I ain't gotta, I ain't gotta.
That thing auto renew.
Auto renew. It's an auto deduction.
I told somebody that yesterday after service.
For real?
You got to make the decision every day. We think because we have one experience, like, okay, and I'm on top of the world. And you really are. You really are strengthened. You're powerful and all that right now for the time being.
Yep.
Yeah.
But every day you got to renew your mind.
Yep.
Like, you're not going to go from A to Z in one day. You got to renew your mind to go from A to B.
Yep.
Right.
From B to C. Like,
Yep.
and sometimes you got to do it in the middle of the day. I got to renew my mind
Listen.
twice in one day.
Listen,
Let-
3
but
times,
done
3
one day.
times.
Needed to.
I had to do mine hourly.
And one thing that I always realized that anytime I've gone to do it and I really put myself in it, my mind gets renewed and I make it through. Anytime I'm ever not victorious, it's because I decided not to renew my mind. I decided not to strengthen myself. I decided not to run to the source of the strength because I got tired of it. I feel like I should have it on autopilot by now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I done did this one, but it's like, no, I can't get so grown
So good.
that I forget that I'm still a child and I still got to ask my daddy every single day for everything that I need.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So it's
good.
like every time I do that, I am successful. So when the days that I'm not so successful, I just realize, like, you know what? I didn't go get what I needed.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And I mean, but I think that's what we read the scripture, but we don't really apply it. That Hebrews 12. It said, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercy of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, with your reasonable service. But be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. We think that, I'm just going to be transformed by renewing of my mind one time. You got to renew your mind every day, every moment. You just got to renew it.
Renewal.
Renewal.
That's a one-time thing, maybe even annually.
Yep.
But renewing is present, progressive. Means it's
Continual.
constantly happening even as we speak.
Give us some advice.
By the renewing of your mind. If I might need to be renewed in 5 minutes, I might click a scripture. I might need to be renewed another hour. I might have a good conversation that boosts my faith.
Yep.
I might be renewed in a few hours. I might need to say a prayer. So it's by the renewing, like presently. If you see me next year, my mind is being renewed. You see me in 2 weeks, I'm still being renewed. It's by the renewing of your mind. That's how you transform.
It's continual.
Yeah.
ING.
What you doing? Renewing my mind.
I'm never not doing something.
Never not.
Because I'm always renewing my mind.
I ain't never not renewing.
I'm never not renewing. Never not.
I ain't never not paying nobody.
Y'all get on my nerves.
I'm never not
What you doing, renewing?
renewing. Renewing. That's gonna be the new thing. Right. What you doing? Renewing.
Put it on the
And then
t-shirt.
it's so
Yeah, what
funny.
you doing? I'm
renewing.
I'm renewing.
ING emphasis.
I'm renewing.
all the
Present
time.
tense.
I'm renewing.
Going to.
Pastor Jessica, when you get saved?
I was baptized at 12, and then I got saved at 25 when I moved here. My story very similar to Jerome. Kind of had some other pieces in between. I was taught I was always taught to read my Bible, and I love reading, so it happened naturally. So I knew my Bible, but I was never taught relationship. Like, I was taught what I was supposed to do, but I never was taught why I was supposed to do it and how I was supposed to do it. I didn't get that until I got here.
Yeah.
So at 25, that's when I decided to give my life to Christ, and that's when I wanted to live a life for Him. And so that's what I attribute my salvation date, 25.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't count when I was 12 because I did it because my grandma said I had to get on the morning bank.
Morning bank.
The morning
Yeah,
bank. Yeah. So morning bitch, 12 at 12, stayed on there for the whole week. Couldn't play Uno, couldn't do none of that stuff.
Lay aside every weight.
Yeah,
I mean, Uno.
Yeah.
6, 7, and 8.
And I found myself frustrated with God because I really didn't get it. I would ask questions. You can't, don't question God. Don't question Him, you know. And I had questions. So when I realized I couldn't question, I just did the circus dance. And when I got away from home, I kind of was like, all right, I'm done with this.
Right, since I can't ask no questions.
Yeah, I'm good on it. Yeah, I'm good on it.
So, your discipleship process, you know, like as far as like being groomed, how has that looked for you?
I was being discipled and didn't know it. I got pulled in by something that I love. I got pulled into being discipled by something that I love, which is, kids, children, teaching and stuff like that. When I got to All Nations, that I connected because I heard the word. It was like, oh, this is good. This is for my life. I'm changing in ways I didn't think I was. But I connected to the process of discipleship because of something that I like. I feel like that's how God caught me. Like, oh, okay, then let me get you over here to work with these kids. And then that's when it went to a whole new place. Yeah. And so that process was because I had a desire, because I heard us talking about, oh, is it a maturity thing? Is it an age thing? For me, it was a desire thing. I desired to be better so that I could do a better job at what I was doing. Yeah. But in doing that, I learned that I needed to be better so that I can be better for my relationship with God, because ultimately that's what matters most. Yeah. And so it wasn't very difficult for me. There were things that were hard, like dealing with the father wound, dealing with my pride issues. There were things that were hard, but even though it was hard, because I had a desire to be discipled, I stuck to the process. I was okay with it. A lot of tough conversations, a lot of convictions, a lot of reviews, a lot of yelling from somebody, but it was done. And we just got glory. Did that answer your question? Like, what was that part? A lot of yelling.
I wonder who.
No, let me tell
some offense.
Let me tell y'all what happened one time, okay? Okay, so I was.
Tell it.
Keep that camera
rolling. Tell it. And zoom in on him.
And so I was learning how to do ministry and stuff, all that good stuff, right? And so I was in the middle of a relationship. I was just so gung-ho about my relationship and ministry, right? And so I had started to not be in church on Sundays because I just thought my team had it. I was, oh, they're good, da, 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 da. And I was gone and something happened, right? Something happened. And when I found out about it, I got the phone call. I was like, Jessica, this just happened, so we had to shut down children's church. The week before that, me and Dad had just talked, and he was like, no, if we're going to do children's church, we're going to do children's church. Because at this point, it was new. When I came, the children's ministry was new, And so we're going to do it. So to find out, and they didn't know about the conversation I had with him, right? So I found out, so I'm trying to fix it, everything, da. So before he said something to me, I sent him a text message, and I was like, hey, Dad, I heard about what happened. Mind you, he has not said nothing to me. I was like, I found out what happened, I went here to fix it. I talked to him, da. And his text message killed me. He said, that's cool, but we still gonna talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, but then loomed over your head all day.
I was like, uh-oh. No, don't.
Right.
I was like, no. And so what that taught me was, like, in moments of discipleship, even though you may feel like you've learned the lesson and stuff like that, and you feel like, oh, let me get ahead of the 8 ball, let them know that I'm good, da. There are still going to be some tough conversations that you just going to have to have. Yeah. You're not going to be able to get outside of it. And in that conversation, I learned stuff that I needed in order to really make this a thing. Like, really make sure it don't happen again. Really make sure that I don't make those same mistakes and mess up again. But if that conversation hadn't happened, he was just like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. I probably would have repeated it again. But we had to have that conversation. I think that was probably one of the toughest pieces of discipleship for me, because I was prideful and I felt like I knew everything, and I felt like, if I know it, don't talk to me about it. Like, let's just act like it didn't happen. But you can't do that in discipleship. Yeah.
You gotta humble yourself.
Gotta humble yourself. Oh my gosh.
And here's the thing. I think that I got.
That makes sense.
You did. I got baptized 13. Somewhere around there. And the only reason why I did it, and this is the God honest truth, the only reason why I did it in that moment is because my sister did it. And I wasn't going to let her out. Like, she was 6. So I'm like,
she got all the love.
Yeah, but it wasn't even like about an attention thing. It wasn't like an attention thing. It was like, hey, my sister came to this realization before I did.
Yeah.
So let me catch up to what she wants to do. She wants to get baptized. Let me get baptized. You know what I'm saying? And I remember going down there, my sister had talked to my mom about it, and I remember that. And then when my mom saw me go, it was like, my mom just shouted, because she was like, oh my God, my son, the one that I was like I say I was anti-church. I had been raised in it, but I just, saw how church people dogged my grandfather. And I was like, I would not do nothing with no church. Like, church people stupid, and they get on my nerves. And, you know, like, I was like, here my grandfather is taking time away from us to be there for y'all, and then y'all dog him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm straight.
Yeah.
I'm straight. Like, he puts his family on the altar of sacrifice to be there for y'all inconsistent tails. And then y'all still dog him. Like, ain't no getting around it. So I didn't want to do nothing with church. So I got baptized at 13. I knew the Lord called me to preach at 17. Well, I knew at 16. I yielded to it at 17. Preached my first sermon at 19. I preached my first sermon at 18. And then I went off to Bible college. Still never been discipled. In Bible college, never discipled. And here is the catch. I was never discipled because I was charismatic. People feel like you already got it.
Yeah.
You already know it. That was your thing. That was your challenge.
Yeah.
When you good in the area, when you good in the area and you highlight it, they'll let you slide because you good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll just think that you, and that's the reason why I said what I said to Jerome. I don't care about your gift because I was gifted. And I knew what I needed, but now I lived in my own head that my gift was enough.
Been there.
That's enough. It's enough. I'm gifted. So nobody wanted to touch me and train me and teach me. Not because I knew all the answers, but because I looked like I did. I looked like I had the answers. And I real deal didn't. I knew absolutely nothing. I knew absolutely nothing. But because you look like you know something, they won't touch it. Because they feel like you're already good. You got it figured out. So I was not discipled. I was a pastor. I became a pastor at 30. I'm 35. I became a pastor at 30 and had not been discipled.
Crazy.
Because the person that put me as the pastor, the person that put me as a pastor was afraid to even disciple me because he thought I knew more than him. So he didn't have a urge. He didn't have an urge to disciple me. He didn't have a hunger to disciple me. I am now a full-fledged pastor, hadn't been truly discipled, and my pastor, Pastor Brian Friend, was like, yo, we gotta rewind some stuff. You've been good, but we gotta rewind some stuff. Because you can ride gift. You can ride charisma. You can ride it all day long. And he was like, we gotta rewind some stuff. And then we begin to go through processes. I studied the Bible for the sake of sermon preparation. I studied the Bible for the sake of writing papers and doing what I need to do with school, but not for the sake of my life. Because again, I was raised in the idea that this Bible was us fairy tale stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a textbook. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, textbook. All right. So I'm gonna read it from the angle of a textbook, get my answers. I go to it to find answers for the sake of this, and I'm gonna do that, and for the sake of helping everybody else. It wasn't until I honestly got ready to make the transition out of where I was to where I became disciple. Wow. So I'm 35. I probably started really getting discipled at 32. It's crazy, huh?
It's real, though. It's real and honest and transparent.
And helpful to
yeah,
people like me. Because I'm just gonna put it in my life.
Because you can be leading and telling people what they need and still not doing it.
Yeah.
So I had to come to the realization, like, yo, I need this. So in order for me to give this to somebody, I first have to get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. So I started going through discipleship. And the thing is, I knew Bible, I knew scripture, I knew I was saved, I had the Holy Ghost, I knew I had gifts, I knew what gifts I had. And what keeps us from being truly discipled is when you are in tune with your own ability. Mm-hmm. So you kind of drink your own Kool-Aid. I know I can do this. I can do this, and I can do this, and that can work. That can work. It really can. It can work for as long as you allow it to work. But when you realize that there are some deeper places in God that I want to go, and not only deep places in God that I want to go, but it's some things that I want to say that hold more weight. Weight only comes from submission. So if my words are going to get weightier, I have to submit myself to the process. So you know how somebody. So this is why you can have two different people. One person say one thing and it means they can say the exact same sentence and it mean nothing. And then somebody over here can say the exact same sentence and it drop. And you be like, what in the world just happened? They just said the same thing. No, it's the weight that was on the word that was said.
That's so
because
good.
of what they endured or what is connected to that. That's why you have singers sing the same song. And one singer could be technically better than the other singer. That's why we had old mothers in the church that that couldn't like you got somebody like a Brandy that could run and that could be that's an amazing singer, and then you got old mother on the front row of the pew that ain't went to no liquor school, ain't got nothing, but she got weight with her words. And so that is the difference. Yes, your technicality can be great, your runs can be absolutely amazing, and you can sound great, but there is no weight with your words. And I think that comes from discipleship and being sold out to God in areas where you struggle. And it doesn't mean that you're absent from struggle. Walking through discipleship does not mean you're absent from struggle. You still gonna want sin. You still gonna want to do what you want to do. So get that out of your head. I don't know why we think like when we get saved, like all my desires go out of the window. You are crazy.
Absolutely.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like that
they
thing
changed your Jesus for real.
That thing heightens. You be like, wait a minute,
Whoa.
because you. I mean, you think about it. Even from a natural aspect, even before God, you didn't want what you wanted until somebody told you couldn't have it. So what happened? Still like, but I think what happens with the missing additive to Christianity and the missing additive to discipleship is when we give people God, we give people rules. We don't give them benefits. So we don't tell them by getting this relationship with God, the reason why we're going to walk through discipleship, so we can so we can have levels of accountability, so that you can walk into this. This is you, and you need to become this. We didn't speak to their potential. We spoke to their parameters. Don't do this, because all of us have said, like when we got saved, we couldn't do this. We threw out our CDs. We got rid of this. We changed this. We said we couldn't do this no more. We can't do this no more. We had changed this. It was all about what we could not do. So when we think about salvation, immediately what we think about is what we lose and not what we gain. So we have to change the perspective of of how we look at it. We have to change the perspective of those that want to be saved but feel like, man, like that's boring, that's whack. I can't do this. I can't do that. What do you mean? Like, no, we got to tell you, like there is a life that awaits you that's better than the life that you live, but there has to be an exchange. So I mean, you look at it from every aspect. I got deeper in sin when I got saved. That thing, look, I got baptized at 13. I was like, oh, all right. I know I'm going to heaven. So now, I ain't got nothing to worry about. I'm gonna get it all in.
Get it in.
Because and I remember like when I didn't throw my CDs away until I announced my call to preach. That's when I got rid of everything, and I was like, I got to show and prove everybody that I'm different. Again, like Jerome said, like I want to look a certain type of way. So I remember I was driving down Lightfoot Mill Road. I know the road, and I know exactly where it's at because I went back the next day and looked for them CDs.
Long gone.
T.I. I'm Serious.
You threw it out.
All the good stuff. That was my favorite album. Dope Boys in the Trap.
Rubber Band Man.
I was like, man, I love that album. T.I. first album. All right, I'm sorry.
He back.
So I threw out all those CDs, and then I was like, I'm gonna tell everybody, I'm gonna show everybody I'm different. I'm gonna show everybody, things are different with me. I'm gonna show everybody, those type of things, and I realized like people still wouldn't see them. You know, people still view you from the way that they want to view you.
Yeah.
You know, and I couldn't work for the sake of proving to people that I was different. It was challenging. And so, but discipleship gives you a courage to be who you're called to be, to know who you are. What allows you a boldness is how you've been discipled. Somebody had to give you a language to say, you know what, this is who you are. And because I think this is also what aids in us constantly seeking validation, is because we were not discipled, nobody helped us to identify what was in us. So now we're seeking validation from people that have major platforms, or people that got a microphone, or people that we view as weighty, or people that are doing what we're called to do, and we seek validation from them to tell us that, yo, this is what you called to do. Like, we just seek it. It's just it becomes a thing. But if you are discipled right, it minimizes the voices of your quote unquote need. I say your need for validation. So,
That's
yeah.
so good.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it.
It's been good.
It's good.
Yep.
All